Welcome to this instructional guide to tell you how to set up and tune your Schumacher RC engine. Let's have a closer look at the engine. The carburetor has 3 screws. The first controls the top end. This is what gives the car its top speed. The second controls the bottom end. This enables the car to set off easily and cleanly and come to a halt without stalling. The third screw controls the idle. This small screw only affects the actual revs of the engine when the car is sitting at rest. To increase the idle speed, screw the idle screw inwards, that's clockwise. To reduce the speed, simply turn the screw anti-clockwise. When adjusting the idle screw, you must always leave a gap in the bore of the carb. We will discuss the top end and bottom end screws in more detail later in this instructional video. After warming the engine up, we decided to run the car. What you saw from these first couple of runs is a good level of smoke just to the point where the car begins to max out. Then the smoke disappears. This indicates the engine is lean at the top end. This is a bad thing for the engine, as it means it's being starved of fuel and therefore lubrication, and this obviously will give more wear on the engine and also reduce performance. The solution to this is to simply give an extra quarter turn anti-clockwise on the top end screw to make the engine slightly richer. As you can see from the following runs, we now have a good amount of smoke coming from the engine all the way through the rev range. The engine is not bogging down at the top end. That is what would happen if you had an engine that was too rich. A too rich top end will get to a certain rev and then bog, and you will see a lot of smoke. The solution for that is to lean the engine off. Always make your adjustments by no more than a quarter of a turn either way. Basic rule of thumb, if there's not smoke at high speed, your engine is too lean, and therefore you give it a quarter of a turn more fuel, that's anti-clockwise, make it richer. If you have good smoke but the engine seems to bog down as it goes fast, then you're running too rich, and what you need to do there is lean the engine off, that's a quarter of a turn clockwise, to make the car a little bit more efficient. To set the correct bottom end is slightly more difficult, as in some ways both lean and rich situations have the same effect. They'll make the car stall, but they do it in very different ways. With an engine that is too rich, what you tend to hear is the engine beginning to gurgle. Eventually it will stop if you're very rich, but it also manifests itself as not being able to carry out a clean getaway. The getaway is kind of boggy, and then it finally picks up. Obviously once it's running, it'll then move on to the top screw, which we've already adjusted properly. If your bottom end is too rich, then to lean it off, you simply turn the screw clockwise a quarter of a turn. Again, all adjustments should be no more a quarter of a turn at a time. If your bottom end is too lean, what tends to happen when you actually lift the car is it will begin to race under idle. So you'll hear the engine accelerating greatly depending how lean it is. This manifests itself actually on the road as sudden unexpected cutouts, so you'll find it flaming out or stalling for no apparent reason. To richen the engine off, you simply take the bottom screw and turn it anti-clockwise or counterclockwise a quarter of a turn. The easiest way again to see if it's lean or not is actually let the car idle. A rich car kind of idles in a very boggy way, whereas a lean car actually idles in a very tinny way. A lot of it is the sound helps the tuning. The engine comes from the factory ready tuned, so it shouldn't be too far off either way. We'll only need very slight adjustments to either the top end, bottom end or idle. We're sure you're going to enjoy many hours of fun with your Schumacher car. For more information, always refer to your manual or to the Schumacher website.